What's up, my beautiful entrepreneurs? Get ready to have your customers pampering themselves with this luxurious, simple, and effective coffee sugar scrub. This is a great recipe to add into your line, as coffee is a really great exfoliant to use in your scrubs. I'm considering this to be part 3 in our sugar scrub recipes that we have created thus far. Let's not waste any more time. Let's get right into the video. Okay, I think you guys are gonna really enjoy this sugar scrub. Now, of course, we're gonna get straight into the formula for this coffee sugar scrub, and then I'll break down each ingredient. So first up, we're gonna have coffee butter, then we're gonna have cocoa butter, fractionated coconut oil, preservatives, and then I have fragrance oil, and I have the brown sugar and coffee of the overall formula. So first up with the coffee butter, coffee is a really great skincare ingredient, and a lot of people aren't educated on how well of an ingredient coffee can help with your skin overall. So it's not just to drink, but it's great on your overall skin. And I found that it helped with cellulite, sometimes with stretch marks and like dark spots. So it's a really great lotion or scrub to have. Now, I was looking into coffee butter and I was searching on websites, and I bought 2 different kinds, and I realized that they weren't they were very different. When it comes to the coffee butter, I noticed that one that I bought was a lot softer than the other, and I also realized that it had more of a coffee aroma. It was stronger coffee extract within that butter than the other, and also the color of the coffee butter was a lot different as well. So I realized that you can also make coffee butter yourself, so I went ahead and made a batch of coffee butter myself, and I'm going to be using that within this recipe. But I'm also going to use one that I had bought as well,
just to see the difference in how making your own coffee butter can make a difference within the sugar scrub as well.
Now, this is going to be a body butter based sugar scrub, so I'm also going to add in cocoa butter in there just to add a little bit more firmness into the butter so that it can kind of hold better. And then also we're going to have our preservative in there, because you need a preservative within your sugar scrubs, because this is something that's going to be mixed with water. People are using this in the shower, and you don't want it to mold and go bad quickly, so you want to definitely add in a preservative into your sugar scrub. And then I also have fragrance being added in there as well, just to balance, and adding in vanilla within the sugar scrub kind of helps balance out that coffee and not make it as strong, and it really just makes it a nice like coffee aroma. So now let's get into actually making this coffee sugar scrub. So first, you're going to take your coffee butter, the cocoa butter, you're going to take your coconut oil, and you're going to allow all of that to melt down. You're going to put that on a double boiler, and once it's done melting completely, you want to set it aside so that it can completely cool, so that you can be able to whip it up into a whipped consistency. And once you're able to get it all whipped up, that is the point where you're going to want to add in your preservative. You can add fragrance at this time as well, or if you're adding in any additional colorant, you can add all of that in as well. Vitamin E. This is the point at the cool down phase where you can add in any of your additional ingredients. Once you've added that all in, you're going to continue to whip it just to make sure that those peaks stay. And as you're whipping it, always remember that sometimes it can take a while for everything to cool down properly. So what you want to do is you can put it in the fridge, or you can put it in the freezer, and you want to take it out in intervals, and you can start to whip it as you go step by step, because that will also help it to cool down faster, and you can start to get those peaks, and it doesn't start to get clumpy. You don't want your butters to get clumpy as you're starting to whip it, because then it's going to be a clumpy mess, and it's hard to keep whipping and whipping. You don't want to over whip, so start by whipping it as you go so that it will cool down faster, and you will start to get those peaks early. After you've had everything whipped up, this is the point where you can add in your exfoliant. So now I have the brown sugar and the coffee grounds. Now hold on one second. when it comes to these coffee grounds, I did not know how big of a difference that the roast will make on the coffee grounds that you are using. Now, with the coffee grounds, when you're using like a medium roast, it's still a very dark roast coffee. So when you're adding that into your sugar scrub, you can notice that the color of your scrub will start to darken even more, and it'll be a really, dark color. Now, if you're going for like a more like robust coffee sugar scrub, then that may work when you're just using like maybe your coffee grounds and oils as the exfoliant, then that's just your sugar scrub. But if you're trying to make like a creamy, soft coffee scrub, then the medium roast is going to be too much of color. So it's going to mess up the actual overall look of your sugar scrub. So I would look into getting a blonde roast. Now, I didn't know that there was a such thing as blonde roast because I'm not big of a coffee drinker, but there is a blonde roast, and you have medium roast, and then there's dark roast. And to avoid getting that harsh dark color, you can get the blonde roast coffee grounds, and that will take away some of that dark harsh color that you're getting to help make the scrub a little bit more lighter in color. When it comes to the scrub itself, I've noticed is that when I add in the brown sugar, I'm only going to add that in at 40%. And then the additional 15 is where I was going to add in the coffee grounds. And I really liked the way that this mixture came out because the coffee grounds they weren't too rough on the skin, and the brown sugar kind of helped to make it a light exfoliant and made it not too harsh. Now let's get into the experiment part of this whole formula. I made my own coffee butter, and then I used a store-bought coffee butter just to see what the difference would be within my recipe. Now, I realized that with my own coffee butter that I made, I did have it in like a darker color. I added a lot more coffee extract within my coffee butter, so it was really dark. It had a really strong coffee aroma. Versus the one that I had bought, it wasn't as strong of a smell. The coffee was pretty light, and the overall butter itself was light in color as well. So I will say I did realize that the one with my coffee butter was a lot darker in color versus the one that I was store-bought, and I realized that the scent was still really strong, and the other batch didn't really smell like coffee at all. As the coffee smell and you don't want it to be strong, then maybe look into not adding as much of the coffee extract within the coffee butter if you decide to make that. Now, I was thinking of making a video on how to make your own coffee butter. If that's something that you're interested in, definitely leave a coffee cup down below so I know that that's something that you would like to see. I really do like the way that my own coffee butter made the coffee scrub, because this is supposed to be a coffee scrub, so I like the fact that it had a strong coffee aroma. Cocoa butter also helps the coffee because you have that chocolate aroma that's coming out too, and we all know that coffee and chocolate go great together, so that combination is amazing, and I really love that. Coffee adds a nice punch to this sugar scrub and makes it a lot nicer as far as the exfoliation process. I feel like the coffee doesn't dissolve as quickly as the brown sugar does within the recipe, so it definitely adds like a nice exfoliation process. It doesn't it stays on a lot longer, but it's also still very smooth and it's not harsh on the skin at all. So I definitely think that coffee is a great add-in to your sugar scrub, and definitely something to look into if you're looking for a new ingredient to implement. If you're still looking for new recipes to try out for your sugar scrubs, then definitely click on this video here where I show you two different formulas, one that is a body butter based formula and then another one that is an emulsified sugar scrub. Definitely check that out. Until then, stay cute, girl, and stay scrubbed.